Welcome to the Avance Podcast. I'm Dan.
I'm Nick.
How's it going, buddy?
It's going well. I'm going to an optometrist this week because I realized I'm going blind because of you.
Yeah, me too.
I'm realizing that Dan and I went and had beers this weekend, which we rarely get a chance to do. I think people think we hang out all the time, but it's hard.
What if we could?
And Dan goes, "Yeah, I'm going to go and look at an optometrist because I feel like I'm moving my phone away from me more." And I started thinking about it. I'm like, God, I'm doing that all the time.
Yeah,
like, all the time. So. That'll be fun. It's not easy getting a doctor's appointment these days. I haven't been to the doctor in a while, not because I need to at all. But you're over here right now. Yeah. So
just follow my blur,
right? Yeah. Like, Dan, is that you? So, how you been?
Oh, super good, super busy. That was fun in the snow.
Oh yeah, it's stuck out at your house.
It dumped snow at my place.
It dumped at my house, and then it was sun shining, like blasting through the window. So I don't quite get that. That was apocalypse. Somebody prayed to the wrong weather gods, or something happened. I don't know. So who knows?
Yeah, more house projects though, and I don't know. It's not a bad thing.
Is the house done yet? I mean, come on.
You would think.
God.
I know. Put together some IKEA furniture. It was a wild weekend, man.
That's not as easy as it used to be.
No, it's not.
Like, you almost have to have an engineering degree, a Swiss engineering degree to do that. Like, from time to time, I love wandering around IKEA.
I spend too much money when I do that.
Oh, God. Did you know that when I first moved here, I think I've told you this, I used to go down there on Tuesday mornings for free breakfast?
Yeah.
I think I spent more gas driving there than I should have just buying breakfast where I lived, but it was fun. It's good.
It's fun.
Good food, yeah.
Well, I'm doing countertops in the shop, right?
Okay.
And so I thought about, well, I can make them now. I can press the wood together and just, be a little craftsman. Or I can just go buy butcher block countertops, island countertops from IKEA.
Oh, that's what my desk is. I love it.
Wood is so expensive, it's cheaper to do that.
Yep.
And because I'm not using it as a full-blown professional shop.
Dan, the IKEA countertops are not wood.
I know.
Let's just start there.
They're like wood-looking.
Yeah, I love it. They're great.
Yeah,
like
they hold up fine, though. For what I'm doing, I'm like, forget it. I'll just spend that. But anyway, that's my exciting plans.
No, I mean,
congratulations, listeners. I'm sure you're enthralled. Hope you're still here.
If you want to know how to make a desk out of one of them, it's really easy too. So
there's whole blogs on that, repurposing
that's
IKEA
how I
stuff.
figured out how to do it. Yeah.
Anyway, Carter Automotive Group tip of the week. We should talk about that. So, Nick and I received a message today. A friend of ours, well, rename nameless for now, had a fence blow over onto the front of her car. And yeah. I was like, oh, this is perfect. I had one.
You're talking about something that happened 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, like right before we got here.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Okay.
I was like, oh, this is really good information. I should make this the Carter Automotive Group tip of the week. Mm-hmm. And so what happened is a fence blew over onto her car, and she was worried because she called her insurance company, and they said, that she should go to one of their in-network shops. Ooh. Now, we've talked about that before. It's not all bad. It saves the consumer a little bit of time because they don't need to send out an independent adjuster or an adjuster of their own to go look at the car, get approvals, and then start the work. But if you have a special car or you have a shop that you definitely prefer because they've done work for you before, there's nothing stopping you from going there. In fact, there is some legal language insurance companies have to be very careful to use when they tell you to go to an in-network shop. They cannot say things like it will save us money or that we think it's what you should do. It is saying this will make it easier. Yes, it will technically, but if they try and steer you to a shop, that's highly illegal. In fact, there is a whole board of body shops that will come down on them like they've never felt if a customer reports they've been steered to a shop. It's a very big, messy thing. Yeah. So if you are heart set on a shop, there's nothing they can do to stop you. It will delay your claim typically by 24 to 48 hours while they send out the estimate for approval from your insurance company. And as long as you're not making a fraudulent claim, there shouldn't be any deterrent at all. And then they just come back and say, yes, that is. Sometimes if it's been a bad accident or the repair is questionable, maybe because it caused more damage than it looked. Like if you've ever see anybody hit a sign at low speed, it can cause a lot of damage and look like almost nothing, especially with how many sensors we have in the front of our car. Yeah. So they'd be like, there's just a little crease in the bumper, and they come back with a $6,000 estimate. They might send somebody out to come look at it. But those things are normal. As long as you've got nothing to hide, no big deal. Go where you want. The body shop, if they're worth their salt, has done this 1,000 times with every insurance company on the side.
And they can fight with the insurance company.
Yeah, and they usually don't have to, though. It's a pretty straightforward process saying, here's what it looked like from the photos, here's what we found, and then the insurance sisters, that looks about right. Okay, They sign off, and repair goes through. No big deal. The one thing I want to make sure people do is if you get damaged in like a situation like hers where it's a comprehensive claim because something environmental happened, there is like that liability. Was the fence secure? Was it a rotten fence that the
Who owns the fence?
Who owns the fence, right?
Yeah.
Let your insurance company deal with that. You can do it on your own. It might significantly delay your repair, especially if you want the money in pocket. Like if you have an older car, a lot of people will be like, I don't actually want to repair. There's already tons of like stone chips in the hood anyway.
Give me the money. No.
Like, you're entitled to be compensated for the damage, but it might not be worth it on a really old car. But you might get I don't want repaired. I just want the $500. And that's fine. That's not a shady thing to do if you just don't care about your car. I don't think it's the right thing to do, but
Yeah, I mean, if the car's a POS. I'm also, if something happens to your car like this, take photos initially. Mm-hmm. Your initial thing is going to be go out and take the object off your car. Take photos, especially with your phone and stuff like that. If somebody else sees what happened, get a statement from them, have them get a written statement of it, take photos, things like that. It's better to have that stuff than somebody come back going, well, it wasn't my fence. Like, well, there's a hole there and my car was parked there and I know. So, your fence is missing and my hood is broken. Let's talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you come out to damage on your car, like a hit and run, call the police first thing. And they may not even come out, but you want that record saying you at least tried to get a police report, especially now. They may not come out at all.
They'll get you a case number over the phone even.
Yeah, and your insurance company will want that. So save yourself the headache, and they understand. Your insurance company isn't new at this game. Just tell them, hey, I called the police. They didn't come out, but here's the number.
You get a case number even when you hit a deer.
That's true.
And the insurance company wants it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyway, insurance companies can be difficult to deal with, but as long as you are kind of oversharing, this is that time you want to overshare everything you have about what happened. Overshare. You will save them the trouble of doing the paperwork and you the trouble of delays. So anyway, that's your Carter Automotive Group tip of the week.
Thank you, unnamed Avance member that called us or messaged us.
Yeah. Speaking of Avance members, if you have something you want us to talk about, please do. Just message us. We will talk about it on the show.
Yeah, we're not famous enough that we have people yet, so we will answer your messages.
Most of the time, unless I forget about it.
We're not busy and doing our real jobs. Yeah. Well, I guess these are jobs now, aren't they?
Yeah, these are real jobs.
It went from RCS where it wasn't a real job to it's a real job now.
Yeah.
So,
Now it's actual work and reporting.
I know. Somebody wants results. Yeah.
This week, we have Andy Kim and Robin Haar, which you guys probably know if you're Avance members very well, actually, because they've had a lot of great videos. Boy, I sound really biased, like a total arrogant ass right now, because I was in the last one.
No,
they are great.
I agree.
From a cinematography perspective, they're wonderful.
They are.
He kept this from me. He never told.
He did?
I know.
Really?
He actually, because of the ND. I mean, I'm not surprised with Dan, but he did not tell me until like it came out. Nothing. And he goes. Oh yeah, by the way, there's a video coming out with me, and I'm like, excuse me.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. I was like,
I didn't tell anybody.
I don't even
Really?
argue anymore. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, with the Ferrari Roma stuff and the video,
I get
it was
why
like,
you did it. I was just like, you expect some
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey,
Yeah, but he
hey,
told
guys,
me on
I
the
did a
side.
thing. I know.
He told
I
me
know
on
what
the
he told
side that you guys aren't that close.
We're
so
not.
It makes
We're
sense.
not. We're not.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I just thought you'd at least call me to get to him, but whatever.
Right.
So I see how it is. Whatever. I'm not mad at you.
What did you think of it?
It was incredible. From a car's perspective, I wanted more of the car. I loved the story. I loved the timeline. It was funny to see something like I was talking to Dan, like as you were doing shots of the car driving around, I'm like, oh, I know that road. Oh, I think I know where that is. And some of them I got wrong, but that was the thing. Like, and I wanted Dan to hug his son. That was the biggest thing. I just wanted to show let him. I think he'd be a good dad. So it was weird not to see any emotional connection between him and his son. So especially such a
we
smart.
practiced a lot.
Did you hug a lot?
We hugged a lot. Yeah.
He's not the best hugger.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Let's cut that.
Hugging a cactus. Yeah, I know. No, it was a great video. Like I said, but from a car perspective, I'm like, I could have watched the car scenes the whole time and been like, I don't care about the kid.
Yeah.
But the storyline was great, and I like that because I'm a big fan of movies and I get drawn into things. So I like to see that plot line.
Right.
So
That's awesome to hear. Yeah.
Michelle said she shed a tear. Michelle Graff.
Did she?
Really?
Yeah.
she
That's
cries at a lot of
awesome.
things.
Yeah.
So,
Which part?
She felt bad for him, for the son.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge of this film was, our normal productions, we do it over 2 months, 3 months, right?
Yeah.
But this one was literally compressed into 3 days of shooting.
Yeah.
And we knew we had no time to reshoot, and we had to get everything done right. And so it was just really about overlapping shots and doing redundant shots, just make sure that we have all the takes we need. And even then, on the editing floor, there were still shots that we had missed. We're like, oh, okay. could we rewind the footage and mirror it somehow, flip it horizontally just to make sure if it works from continuity. And
if he's going left to right, we flip it, he'll go right to left. Right?
Right, but now he's on a right-hand drive car. It's like, no, we can't do that. So,
nobody will see it.
We haven't actually said these guys are from Driven Motion, and the film was F Sharp.
Yeah.
And we're not just talking about F Sharp today, though. We're going to talk all about Driven Motion and how you guys even started this, because I had never done anything like this in my life, not even close. And I had no idea. Like, I knew it was going to be a ton of work. And I don't mean from me, I mean from them. And I had no idea. I was so, like, I thought 10% of what it was. And I knew it was going to be a lot.
You know, it's funny because I look back on, Dan and I have pretty good communication. And I remember when he did it, well, I looked back on it and I was like, because he was like, I have things to do this weekend. And usually we look at each other, I'm like, oh, I'm doing this. And he's like, I have things to do. And I'm like, at the time I was kind of busy with something. I was like, okay, cool, whatever.
Man, come on.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So let's go back to, how did this all start? Like, not necessarily the Roma film, but like, where did you guys come from?
Yeah. So back in 2019, we were having family dinner, and it was,
it was at a Korean restaurant in Linwood.
Yes,
so we're getting Korean barbecue, our usual.
Yes.
And we were just talking about cars, and I just got the R32 GTR imported, and I was telling him, like, I would love to just create any kind of film or video of this car, and then Andy just sparked up, and he said, dude, let's just do it. I'm like, okay. And what's great about Andy is he's a really good storyteller, so he just whipped up a storyline to it. He attached a story, and I actually didn't even think about that. I just wanted to create like a cool video of my car, just whatever.
It's amazing what adding a story to it, though, does.
Right.
There are so many videos of people just driving their cars around, which is great. But when you add a story to it, it gives you a background on the car kind of thing.
Right, because it allows people to fill in gaps emotionally.
Yes.
Right? And then there's that story that kind of gets carried through. But, like, as Robin had mentioned, we were having dinner, and he had mentioned that, he got the car, and he wanted to shoot something. And I was like, oh, my God, this is one of my bucket list items. Like, I've always wanted to do a short film. And so Robin's got the car. We got a couple cameras. It's a perfect excuse to buy more equipment. And so
I've been looking for an excuse to buy more expensive things.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what we did. We just kind of threw things together, and we developed a story together. And we didn't want to overcomplicate the first story, right? It was really about a guy just wanting to find the time to drive.
Yes.
That's all it's all about.
Everyday Racer is the name of that film.
Everyday Racer, exactly. And so, super, it's not even low budget. There's no budget, right?
Yeah.
It was more or less just, we got a couple lights, we got a couple cameras, and even while we shot that, we had upgraded the cameras midstream. So we had to go back.
Like, you can see, you see a point where the quality improved. We're like, oh, what happened?
Yeah, so we had to reshoot earlier shots.
We reshot
with all that extra budget.
But I mean, that's what happens when you don't have like someone like Ferrari where you're doing a film for, where you're just doing this for yourself. And so I think that first film took us like almost 4 months to shoot, right? And it was very short, like 3 minutes. And so, and then when we had done it, it was whatever friends that we can beg, borrow, and steal. And we don't have any shooting experience. I mean, we both have photography experience and whatnot. And so some general concepts of lighting and what needs to be seen. But we made a ton of mistakes. And I think when we released the film, we found like a lot of people who do film for a living had commented, hey, fix this. You broke the rule of 180. You got to change this. You got to change the lighting. And so it was a very constructive community, right? Especially on YouTube.
I was going to say, that is not a common YouTube theme.
Right.
I did it wrong.
Yeah.
Tard.
Yeah.
Gee, thanks.
Well, I think it's because like the quality there was potential, but it wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
And so I think people kind of rallied, and so we took a lot of that feedback, and we're like, okay, we got to just copy and paste and make sure we carry this over into the next film. Yeah.
Yeah, if I may add, I think it's also because a lot of true enthusiasts watched the film.
Yeah.
So they wanted us to improve, and they were looking forward to the next film. So rather than just troll us or say some really just hateful comments, they were very constructive of what, they were telling us and how to improve. So we took that and we appreciated it and actually really motivated us for our next film. And what's really interesting, that first film, even though we made a lot of mistakes, it's very special to us and we hold it dear in our hearts because there was, when you're learning new things, especially things that really hit the heart, there's like this sense of wonder and it's just fun, right?
Well, it's your first baby, no matter what.
Exactly.
Well,
Right.
First love.
Exactly. Second baby, it's like
whatever.
Yeah.
That's easy. Those are easy, apparently.
Sorry, no, I love you.
Backstory there. Exactly.
But yeah, I think kind of going back to your point about like as a car enthusiast, that even with the Roma film that you wanted more of the car, and it was constructive criticism like that. It was like it was coming from a place of just pure enthusiasts.
Yeah.
I want to hear the engine more. Like that doesn't.
Yeah.
I want the oomph more, right? And so we're like, oh my god, like after making that film, we realized, oh my god, like audio plays a huge component of that emotive character in the story, and so. So yeah, for the second film, we just pumped all the audios back up, and then realized, oh my gosh, we're like conflicting.
Yeah.
It's not balanced.
And we spent a lot more on the audio equipment.
No, but especially in the Roma film, it was important because of the storyline.
Right.
Yeah.
The child playing.
Yeah.
Like,
The thing was, though, is I read through every comment as well, just because I was like, I'm in this. I want to read what people think, and not of me, but like of the film as a whole. And that was the thing. I didn't get anybody wanted less of a film. They just wanted a longer one.
Yep.
Which
Yep.
was cool.
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
like,
really
oh,
cool.
okay. I was like, people aren't like mad at the film. They just
Yeah.
wanted more.
Yeah,
I was like, that's a
right.
great problem to have if you're
Right.
going to have a problem.
Right.
I wanted to know where your wife was. What'd you do? That's what I want to
The
know.
most hilarious
Yeah.
conversations on set, and I was like, I drove off your mom and got a Ferrari to replace her, and it was like all this.
That's all you had to say. Sort of a sad dead moment. Yeah.
I had all these I was trying to keep things lighthearted because we had long days. I mean,
Yeah, they were very
like
long days.
16-hour days, and so
in the storyline, we were considering, alluding or showing that, okay, yeah, he does have a spouse, and maybe she's just
Oh,
off
I
at work or
assumed she
doing
was
something.
dead. I mean, I truly, after watching it, I assumed that he was a widower. I don't know why,
Oh,
Yep.
interesting.
but that was absolutely the assumption I had.
Yeah.
No. That's interesting. That's good to know. But I
And
think
she had life insurance, which turned into a Ferrari.
right, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe not that last part, but the first part definitely.
No, that's
Yeah,
exactly what we wanted you to assume.
There's a prequel right there.
Exactly.
yeah.
Sorry, my explanation is much simpler. It's because we only had a limited amount of time, and we need to tell a story within like a few minutes. We're like, okay, I think if we're going to add that in, it's just going to convolute the story a little bit. So we decided to just cut that out and then just focus on the father and the son.
But to your point, I think like when you do leave things like that open, it does leave it to interpretation, right? And then the story suddenly transforms into something different for everybody else.
Well, yeah, power of imagination is
Right.
wonderful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I
So
think
your imagination is kind of dark.
Yeah, well, a lot of things about me are a little dark, but there's sunshiny somewhere.
Okay.
Actually, one of the funniest things, I've got to tell them the story here about when there was a Roma here and we were walking around. Do you remember
Oh
that?
yeah.
So he still hadn't told me what was had happened, okay? And we're walking people around like we did.
Yeah.
I walked you around. And we come to the Roma, and he starts saying these. He's like, yeah, I didn't like the way it drove. I loved it. And it didn't
I was
click.
comparing it to an Aston Martin.
It didn't click in my head. And then I
Yeah,
got up here and I was like, when did you drive a Roma? And he goes, never. There was like no answer. It was like, yeah, whatever. I
just like,
just deferred. And I was like, and like, it's one of those, that was like a hard thing. I was like, wait a minute. Like, because he was saying things like, he's like, well, when I forgot who we were talking to. You're like, well, I just didn't like the way the start button worked or the ergonomics of this. And it just. And
Very specific.
I've heard him talk about cars like through our whole friendship.
I
And
think
I'm
I
just
said I
like,
didn't like the lack of haptic feedback on the start button.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Because
Yeah.
it was like, is it going to, when we were trying to shoot a scene of a startup, I was like, well, am I hitting it right?
Yeah,
like, instead
right.
of like, just give me a freaking button.
Yeah.
Hell, I would take a key in that case.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things like with slow burns. I got back. I was like, how do you know how that car starts? Like, and I got no answer. But
YouTube.
My
I
wife's
watched it
dead,
somewhere.
and I have a son too. What? So, what were you guys doing before this wonderful dinner? When you got your car, like, what backgrounds do you guys come from?
Okay, let's see. I have a pretty colorful background on the creative side, I guess. So I've been illustrating and drawing pretty much my whole life. My dream as a kid was to be in the game industry as an artist. So although I was gearing towards that, I fell in love with design. And back in the day, it was called graphic design. And I went to school for that at UCLA, graduated from there, and then immediately I got a design job working on, the UI layouts and the experience for websites for different like music production companies. And then after doing that for a while, I've realized my dream, and I worked really hard on my portfolio, art-wise, to get into the video game industry as a concept / 3D artist for characters and environments. And I did that for several years.
And by the way, he's an accomplished illustrator. Like, he's underplaying it right now. He's got a huge fan base.
So we're not just talking stick figures here?
No, yeah.
So people love my stick figures.
The emotion that can be...
The emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
right.
I just do a line. It's like, sadness.
Hey, it worked for XKCD.
So, yeah, I mean, although I'm like telling this really long story, like as I said, like I've been doing a bunch of things that are somewhat related, and then I feel like everything kind of led up to the moment where we are making videos. So like after the game industry, I had my own startup, which was in real-time 3D maps. I won't go too into that. But what we created, we were just grinding for several years, and we actually got acquired by Amazon back in 2012, which why I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle now. So I worked at Amazon for a few years, just integrating our technology to become what is Amazon Maps today. And after that, it's just been working at different tech companies, and I'm actually back in the startup world, working in the Web3 space in NFTs. Cool. Because it's just
where
the world's going.
And I just love everything about it. Yeah. So
have you always been into cars?
Yes.
Since you're a kid.
That's
the one thing I remember drawing as a kid is cars. I
Terribly,
was not good at
yes,
it.
Yeah.
I could draw a Countach. It was just a cheese wedge.
Right.
Honestly, I was into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles up till high school.
Hell
and
yeah.
then that's when I really got into cars the freshman year of high school. Because a friend asked me, he's like, hey, you into cars? I'm like,
no, man, I'm into turtles.
Yes,
exactly.
Heroes in a half
This
shell.
is all I draw. He's like, what's wrong with you? And then I'm like, wrong with me? What?
Nothing.
And then right when he introduced me to that world, like just seeing my first like fixed up Civic or Honda Accord, I was just hooked.
Yeah.
I think there's things in life where it just immediately speaks to how you're wired, and no one needed to convince me. I was just hooked. Yeah, just everything was about cars after that point.
Sure.
If anybody hasn't seen the documentary Turtle Power, it's awesome. It's really good.
It is
you
good.
don't realize how much when it, like I watched that and like the stuff like what Netflix did on like where He-Man came from, and like you don't realize how one little thing turns into something totally different. But like as a child of the 80s, I mean, turtles were big.
Turtles were huge.
I get the biggest kick out of the fact that all these kids now are like, oh, we've got Transformers and Turtles. I was like, we had them in the 80s, and they were,
Like,
you still have the original Optimus Prime.
Have you seen the Rescue Rangers preview?
No.
Oh.
So there's a new Rescue Rangers coming out, and there's
a
moment where they realize that they're dressed like Magnum PI and Indiana Jones, and it's hilarious.
Really?
So only old guys would actually get that reference.
Yeah, because you wouldn't get it. Well, I never did when I was a kid. It wasn't until I was probably my late teens that I realized that.
Yeah. All those jokes are appreciated.
I just realized it. Like I watched that show for years. Like that, I'm like, oh yeah, yep, totally. Yeah.
Wait, can you sing us the song, the intro song, the jingle?
To
the Rescue Rangers.
Rescue Rangers.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't sing.
Sometimes some crime goes through the cracks, but these two gumshoes. I don't remember the rest of it. Yeah.
Yes.
We can do parody. We can't rip audio though.
Life is like a hurricane here in Duckville.
DuckTales.
Yeah. So.
That was DuckTales.
Yeah. I know.
Okay.
And then Tailspin and all kinds.
New series was
Tailspin, yeah.
fantastic, by the way.
I haven't watched it yet. Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Best thing Disney Plus has come out with.
Jeez,
I don't care what
Dan,
anybody
grow up.
says.
Yeah,
Why are
grow
you
up,
watching
Dan.
all this children's stuff? You should be playing with Legos.
You got to watch it, dude.
So,
I'll
yeah.
send you my Disney Plus login.
I will. Okay,
It's
yeah.
really good. Anyway.
And how about you, good sir?
Yeah.
Now
so
we
yes,
got past the illustrator.
yes. So I've been
Tracer. Sorry.
Ooh, that hit close to home. He's
Chasing
never
Amy
hiring you for a
reference.
depressed
Sorry.
father again. Yeah.
right. So yeah, I've been in the tech space for about like 24 years. So started off as a developer, and then at one point I just got tired of building what other people design, and I was like, hey, I think I could do something about this. So and then that one thing led to another, and then I've just kind of been a UI designer ever since. And so, but yeah, then right now I'm a designer at Google. When I joined Google, I was part of the team where we're combining road data and vehicle sensor information. And when you combine that information, how would you visualize it to the driver to promote safety? Yeah, and so it's
Really cool.
yeah. So
It's a really cool project.
yeah, so I was leading that, and I did that for a while. But before that, I was part of the Alexa project at Amazon. So we both had worked there, and I was there for about 6 years.
He's always listening.
Yes, she is. Right?
They all
And she
are.
He
is.
said it. No, he said it.
She is, right?
Yeah.
And then as far as like my love for cars,
I haven't asked that yet, but okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you just slow down, okay?
Okay,
There's a
okay.
process
Yes.
to this.
No, hey.
I'm
We'll
about
conduct this
streamlining.
interview.
Yes, I'm about streamlining.
Yeah.
Find the ways to
Yes,
optimize
exactly.
things.
Hey, do you like cars?
Yes, great question. Great question.
Leave all of that
No,
in
we
there.
hate it.
Yes.
We hate cars. What are we doing here?
So
You're
yeah,
here to help us figure out filming for a podcast.
I know. 3 camera setup, single
Yeah.
light. That's all we
I don't
need.
know about that setup.
That's the nicest iPad we can afford.
There are 3 lenses on that.
Exactly. That counts. Yeah.
Yeah, so since high school, I've been into cars, but I never been able to like get my car and like fix it up. I was more or less just, all right, keep it in good condition and let's get to one place to another place in one condition, right, and not break down or anything. So, but then like I met Robin, and he was like, hey, you need to really explore that side of you, right? And
Corruption.
yeah, and it's been awesome, right? And so and then now with some extra income here and there, I've been able to now like kind of explore and dive into that a little further. And
Friends like him are expensive.
they're
They're worth it, but it's expensive.
It-
That's the same thing here.
Exactly. That is so true.
So
That is so true.
We only want you to be happy.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Right.
so much
2
stuff.
motorcycles later.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. 2 motorcycles later. Yeah.
Hey, I'm
yeah.
looking for a third.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So like even when I got the last car, I was like, hey, Robin, what do you think about this? And he was like, let's go to look at it. Let's go together. And I was like, oh, okay.
I
like-
love doing that with people.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I love it.
if you don't buy this car, because when we looked at it, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my god, this is amazing condition. You will never
It
find
was
a
a
deal
92
like this.
NSX.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then for Andy,
Those are going to go. Those are shit.
Yeah.
nobody wants one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Exactly.
yeah, for Andy,
Isn't that a Honda?
he's not as
Right.
impulsive as me. He likes
Oh.
to do his homework. He likes to like really make sure.
Okay, in that case,
everything
you
is
and
like-
I are a lot alike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, just buy it. And I was like, if you don't get this, I'm gonna buy it because it was such a good deal too.
Yeah. It was a low
Yeah.
mileage example and
The
local
condition
here.
was beautiful.
Yeah. Not driven in the rain for like 16 years. And
Wow.
yeah. So I was like, all right.
Do you
fine,
enjoy?
I'll
Do you
it.
enjoy getting out and driving? Is that something you enjoy?
Yes, it's one again. It's when we did the first film, I had to lean on stories from Robin as well as other people and kind of discover that relationship that people have with their cars and why do they go driving? Why do they find these opportunities to just sneak out of the garage and go driving? And so, and then once I got the car, I could definitely. Is that an explosion somewhere?
Nah, it's just the ice maker.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But now like weekends or when I'm pent up at work or afternoons or if I have an
days that end
excuse.
in Y.
Right. And so like
Yeah.
I live in California now and we have a post office that is in the canyons. And so you have to take this really windy road up to this post office. And now I'm just always telling the wife, hey, I'll take it. You need anything?
You got to
glad.
return?
Yes.
I'll go return that.
I'll do
We
everything.
should get a P.O. box.
Yes, exactly. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's been very therapeutic and cathartic, and just be able to just pull out, just drive away, and leave the kids, family at home.
Disconnect a little bit.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll see how bad you have the sickness. When you get out of the car and you're walking into the post office, do you turn around and look back at the car?
100%.
There it is. That's
all
that's
about
how
it.
you know a car person. And it doesn't matter if it's a beat up
100%.
Civic or the nicest
Doesn't
Bentley.
matter.
Yeah.
Yep. And you consider, okay, which angle haven't I taken a picture before?
Right? Yeah.
So you try it.
Yeah.
What's a new one? Yep. There
Nice.
you go.
Very nice. Okay.
You know, before we move on to our next topic, I'm going to get a refill, and I think you guys could use one too.
Oh, yes. I was going to ask you that because it's getting boring now.
I know. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
We don't drop in commercial breaks, but
Boy,
we're
Robin,
going to
it's
take
great
one.
to have you on this show.
All right, so we'll just take a minute. We're back.
Why do you have to slap me?
Ouch.
Yeah. It's, again, like kind of like your guys' partnership where it was just
Yeah.
something like an idea of, hey, this could work and maybe we can
Yeah.
do this and we don't have the gear and same thing. It's like,
yeah.
well, we might, we had a camera, we had a used blue, what was it, Yeti?
Yeah, Blue
Yeah.
Yeti mic.
I mean, it's just sort of an accidental mistake that really
Right.
turned into a lot of fun. And it's been something where we love sitting down and talking to people. Like, I mean, I will love to talk cars
Yeah.
till I'm blue in the face.
Yeah.
I've had exes that are like, can we go? I'm like, no, I'm talking.
Right.
I didn't say that.
The audience is just picking back up that
Yeah.
we were asked how we started the show, and it's a
Yeah.
lot like how they started the movies.
Court ordered.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just, hey, that sounds fun. Let's do that. I don't know anything about that. Guess we'll learn.
Right? The greatest ideas are spawned from just that impulse. It's just like, hey.
And the
let's
plan
do
was just to do one film,
Yeah.
That was always a plan.
Okay.
right? And we had released it, and it blew up. And we're like, whoa.
Yeah, 328,000 views right now.
Yeah, so we're like,
Oh, you can't get to 500?
No, like more like 220 million, right?
Yeah, totally.
Sure.
right. But
That's a number.
So as part of that release, we did, because again, from both of our startup experiences, a lot of that is guerrilla marketing, reaching out to journalists and trying to constructing a story for them, and then cold emailing them. So we did a lot of work, but for it to get the response that it eventually got, I think that caught all of us. I had asked Robin when we released it. I was like, how many videos do you think will hit? He was like, man, we're dream big, 500, right?
501. Here we go.
Right, exactly,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And so once it hit that number, and we realized it struck a nerve with the car enthusiasts in the car community out there. We were like, we have to do another one. We just have to do another one. And then so at that point, it was only 3 people. We recruited out to a couple more friends. And then we got
You like
4
me and wanted to get paid nothing,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, exactly. Right. You got time to spend away from your family.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, but that's the reason why a lot of our films are filmed at night.
Yeah.
Because it's after we put our kids down and
Sure.
now we're free and then we could go out at night. Yeah.
I think for
But honey, I have to go out and film.
yeah.
See how many YouTube views
Yeah.
I have, honey. I have to
Kind
go
of a
out,
big
yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
it's a thing now. I have to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it one thing led to another, and then I think with that second film, we had connected with was the second film the interview?
Yeah, the interview was the
it
second
was
film
an
with John
interview.
Zubrick.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
a great film.
And then
Love that one.
And so John actually came up with a story, right, or like a general story, right? So he was like, "Hey, I want to do a film about featuring my car," and we were like, "All right." So we just started talking, and he was telling us a story about how he drives. He drives as a relief,
Yeah.
right? There is a transition from one emotional state to another when he gets in the car, and so that's the intent for him to drive. And so we're like, and then that's when it clicked for us. We're like, oh, there's a great story there. And so we just built the story around a simple interview, and he's pissed off because he didn't get the job.
It's going to have to sell the car.
He has to sell the car, right? So have some emotional punch there. And then just have a great drive and have him completely change.
What was really cool about working with John is he articulated what we were trying to convey. So working with him, we're like, driving, just simply going out and driving the car that you love, that you care about, there's something almost transcendent about that. It's a great way to just kind of let go and just, I don't know, like feel better about the day or whatever. There's something about driving cars that just kind of does that for us. And we try to really capture that in that film. And that became kind of our North Star, or the central theme for like the rest of the films.
I think that's where we found our identity in terms of our film sake, right? And I think it also helped that it was John's car.
Yeah.
Right? And so he knew his car, right? So the responses, the reactions was authentic. So we would just have...
He didn't even need to act in a way.
Yeah. So we would just have cameras on
No,
him.
that is John. That's a very good point.
Yeah, that's John.
Yeah.
So, that worked out to be...
I laughed at some of the comments on that one, too, because I read through all his, too, because I loved that film. And, of course, John's a friend, and so I was interested in his work. It was really cool to see him on film. But it was like some people just... I was laughing because they were like, hey, why do you have to sell the car? And it was like they were talking like somebody else had made him sell it. It's like, no, he's trying to do the right thing for his family. He's like, the guy's fiscally responsible. Give him or financially responsible. Give him a break.
Right.
Why can't you be better with money, John?
Right. Yeah. And then there was like this whole thread about like, oh, his wife is making him sell the car, right? And they got very heated about that. I was like, whoa,
no,
guys.
that was not our intention. She's been very supportive.
Yeah, if anything, yeah,
it was funny. It was cool, though. That was cool in a way because you got to see that emotional reaction from the audience.
Right.
I'm like, damn, that's really cool that you can inspire that from the film, because otherwise people are just like, yeah, good job, nice car, nice camera effects. Like, that's not what you want.
Yeah,
You got a polarized reaction.
What we didn't want to do. There's a lot of great YouTube content out there where there's a lot of good car content and videos where it's really focused on the car itself, and there's just like really cool, camera movement and cinematography and things like that. But it's always about like just how cool the car is or how cool the driver is in that car, which is still like fun to watch. I love watching those, but we decided to kind of take a different route, which is, very like a more story-driven approach, right? So,
there's a lot of movies that are, from a technical perspective, are just beautiful, beautifully shot. Like everybody there's an expert, but you're just like, oh, okay, I've seen 1,000 Lamborghinis at this point.
Right.
Very cool, like the car, but like what you did with the camera. But next.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And the best commercials are narrative-driven. Like, that's all the Super Bowl commercials. They have some short narrative and everything, so...
It's a Budweiser with the horse and the dog.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I think, when we get in our cars, like when I get in the Triumph and I'm out driving, like I'm in my own movie in my mind. Like,
Yes.
I'm out there. I'm driving through the valley.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm imagining myself in some type of film. I'm like, as I'm pulling into the corner, and I'm thinking, okay, even though I'm not a filmmaker, I don't do that. I'm like, okay, I would have a camera there, so you'd see the glare would come across the fender, and like,
we got to get him involved in our next film right here.
So but I think everybody does that, because like you said, when you look back at your car, you go, oh, I could take that from a different angle.
Yeah.
And I've done that 100 times where I've parked the car and I've come back and I'm like, nope, doesn't need to be parked, but I'm going to repark it. And then it's, so
right.
Yeah.
Well,
I get that.
There's a higher level of joy when you experience something in a car. Like I remember that first time downshifting from like 6th to 3rd in the Corvette in the Z06, and that torque that punches you back. It's awesome, but it's almost, and I've told you this before, it's almost more fun when I can have somebody else drive the car.
Yes.
And they get to do it for the first
joy.
time.
You see that response.
Yeah, you see that response. I'm like, you remember how good that feels?
That.
And like being able to share that with film, even just to see that emotion, you can connect with it when you see somebody else experiencing it. Because you're, in a weird way, even though you have no idea who this person is, you're happy for them.
Right, exactly.
You're like, you know that feeling. And just like you see sadness and disappointment in film, you connect with it. Like that can be done in short films, and especially in cars.
Oh, yes.
But every car has a story. I mean, from somebody who bought a Civic because they've been working hard, or like me, that's my grandfather's car, my dad and I restored it. There's a story to it. Right. Like there's, not the new Subaru. So, my dad and I restored this Subaru.
It's a 2022.
Yeah, 2022.
They restored it 2022 Subaru.
Took the Cosmoline off and washed it.
The story in my mind, even though I lived it, is always part of when I'm driving it. Because one, you're telling it, you're stopping and somebody's going, I want to, and you're telling that story, but you're sitting there and there's that history, and you're in the car, and I'm going, okay, I drove this car, my dad drove this car, my grandfather drove this car. Like there's that lineage, which I think is fun, and it connects it. Like, and I think that's something. Again, short story, long story, movie.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
Dan will tell you, movie stories, I get into it, but I'm always one of those people. I'm like, I think this is going to happen, and then it happens. Like, and I'm like, oh, how do I know that? I don't know. It's just.
There's a series on Amazon, and it's called Modern Love. So season 2, the first episode. So they're all individual stories, short films, and the first one is a story about a woman in a beat up Triumph, right? And so it keeps on breaking down. And she loves it.
You're saying my story's already been told? Thanks.
No,
Yeah.
but
Very much.
I would say watch it.
Okay.
It's really touching, and
I love stuff like that.
so the main character is Minnie Driver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's a driver.
Yes.
You're
Thank you,
quick,
Robert.
huh? I'm going to go trace something.
Yeah,
Robin, I'm never going to be able to see you again.
You know what's funny is like 90% of
never
our
going to
audience,
be invited again.
90% of
you're
our
back
audience has
again.
never seen Chasing Amy.
all his fans
yeah.
are going to come after you.
Yeah, all the fans that are mad at us were referring to the movie Chasing Amy.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
joke.
And he drew a stick figure on a napkin for me, so I mean, it's worth something. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great little film. So
And what's the series called again?
it's called Modern Love.
Modern Love, and it's on Amazon. Okay.
It's on Amazon. So
have
season
not
2,
seen
first
that.
episode.
Okay.
It's
Definitely,
It's
I
like
will, yeah.
10 minutes long.
Good plug for those guys then.
Yeah.
All right.
They need the
Yeah.
money.
Right.
Right.
All right. From a technical perspective, we're just getting set up. Our video with Sherry Harbor DeVos, keep saying her name wrong, and it was a demo. We were literally just trial and error. We were just kind of experimenting on what works, what doesn't, and we set up a couple phones. But it was fun. Like, I watched it, and even though our camera work isn't great, obviously, we weren't really trying. I was more like, let's set this up and see how I can edit it, because I'm learning Premiere. And it was fun. It was a really good time. And so from that perspective, we're just getting set up. Right now we're recording with a single camera because I don't have somebody else to do the switcher for us. But what should I use to get set up if I'm just going to start this out?
No idea.
No idea. You're on your own.
Yeah,
No.
sorry.
I think the simplest thing is just to run a separate audio feed and 3 constant video feeds.
Okay.
Right? So you're just recording 3 angles the entire time. This way, when you get an interesting response or elicit a certain emotion from one of the viewers or someone else, you can cut to that. Right? So you're not switching on the fly because it's not a live broadcast, right?
Right.
You'd be able to edit. So just record all 3 angles.
And I think we talked about that a little bit. The fact that having one camera that covers everybody, and then like a camera per person, so that if you needed to cut to them. But
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah. So yeah,
this is the problem with video, because now people are going to be like, what did he mouth to him?
yeah.
Yeah.
We have a bond now.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, James Bond. James Bond, yeah.
That's how I see it.
But that's what we did with John, like when we filmed him. Like we just had 3-4 cameras just running, and whichever emotion would fit with that part of that narrative, we would just extract that portion. And so like I would often sit in the car with him, and I'd be like, smile, right? And then he would throw his smiles. I never used any of those footages. It's only between the forced smile and when his mouth relaxes to a natural state, those are the sections that we ended up using because those look natural, right?
Oh,
so
when he's getting on the gas and going through the tunnel.
exactly right.
That is
Yeah.
the hardest thing in the world, to smile and laugh on cue.
Right, exactly,
I felt like
right,
I just,
right.
oh my God.
Should we also mention the time, the footage or the scenes where he's very frustrated, he's angry because
He's got to give up his love.
Yeah. That was actually genuine because he was driving through like downtown Seattle, and you know how like low his car is,
Yeah.
and just how harsh his suspension is. Like he was like hitting all this stuff, and he was just he was getting very anxious. So he's like,
Why did I make this video?
Oh yeah.
So
And
that
we had
was
those
genuine,
outtakes
by
at
the
the
way.
end.
Yeah. It was
No, but
hilarious.
that's real emotion.
Yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
it's being expressed in a different way than it's being interpreted on the video,
Right.
that's still real emotion.
And
Okay.
so going back to the 3 cameras, so to run 3 cameras, then you have that flexibility to tap in
Yeah.
and to play into that real emotion that any of your guests will.
All right. That's easy enough.
And it's way easy.
I'm
Yeah.
going to be honest. Like, I'm not real comfortable with the video idea of this.
No?
Okay, I've always been a ham. I've always been that personality. But it's like I don't know how well this is going to work. It worries me. Like I said, I've told Adam that it's not. I'm not going to be backing out of it. It's just there are some things that I think I do that because I know that it's my voice and I don't have to be
on camera.
On camera.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a cheese ball. I know that I can be on camera. I'm good like that. But at the end of the day, there's a little bit of like I'm sitting here this whole time and I'm thinking, okay, am I turning my face enough? Like, are they looking at the back of my head? Like, so
yeah. But I think, I mean,
I'm blind, by the way.
Yeah. Right. I would definitely say that video, I think what carries forward is not the quality, it's just the authenticity that comes behind it, right? I think that kind of portrays in our first video. But that being said, I think being able to connect a face to the voice,
right,
and people will be like, oh, okay, I can relate. I can definitely relate.
said that this week. He goes, people are going to recognize you now. And
exactly.
I was like, they already recognize you. You can't be this close to the school, sir.
Yeah, are you sure you want this? You can't walk out in public anymore.
I know. That's going to be, it's happening once or twice a month right now. People are recognizing
Oh,
you.
really? That's awesome.
Mostly from the posters in men's rooms, but, it's
You and George Michael.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the reason I'm really happy about it. One, I get to start over with learning something new. Not that I'm an audio engineer expert on any level at all, but I'm enough of an amateur that can make something sound decent. And the video part is because I think our audience misses so much about why I love doing this.
Right.
It's because of the guests I get to have and people I get to meet and that interaction. Even if I look stupid sometimes, whatever.
Right.
Like, I'm having a good time still. So if people want to laugh at me while I'm having a good time, who cares?
Exactly. And I think if the video only shows the authenticity even more, people will just connect even more, right? If it feels more fabricated and it feels a bit more artificial, then I think you'll have a problem, right?
Yeah. By the way, all this is artificial.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yes.
We are excellent actors.
Including the gravity.
Yes, absolutely.
So I want to talk about a little bit how this Roma thing came about. Obviously, with your videos, I mean, they've gotten traction. I mean, major YouTubers like Life Apollo and stuff like that, they picked up this up, and that was big. Like, to be like, how did the Ferrari Roma thing kind of come about? Can you kind of talk about that process?
Absolutely.
Can you talk about it now, Dan?
I don't know. Ask them. I just showed up.
Wait. Let's just backtrack. Let's just talk about your insecurities.
It should have been me, damn it. Yeah. I could have been a better dad. I would have hugged him.
No, you look like a dad. You look like a good dad too.
I do,
right?
So, I look like the kind of dad to be like, but I don't want to put him to bed. Like, let's go for a car drive. Yeah.
So we were actually developing our fourth film, and then we got a cold email from Ferrari North America.
I thought it was spam.
Yeah, I was just about to say like spam. Like,
like, why would you contact us?
Right. And so
Did you send this to the wrong person?
Right.
I know.
Does it say sapient or something?
Yeah.
But like in the top, like we had talked about, it would be amazing to do an OEM film. Or, because we grew up and do you remember the BMW films?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
they
God.
They were amazing.
Yes.
Clive
right?
Owen and throwing Madonna out the side of an M5.
Right.
Yes.
You have Guy Ritchie directing.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Yes.
God, that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And so we thought if we got to do like a Honda film or even a Kia film, right? They have great cars these days, right? What could we do, right? And then we got this cold email from Ferrari. We're like, wait, is this real? Like, and then we just
Mom, this isn't funny.
Yeah.
Don't make me come out of the basement.
Yeah, and then we just talked to them, and then they love the narrative angle. They said, "Have you talked to any other OEMs yet?" We're like, "No, you guys are the first." They're like, "We won't be the last, right?" So we love this, and so they thought, well, we'd love to be able to feature a car, and work with you guys, and so that's kind of where it kind of began to grow momentum. We had meetings for about a month and a half.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe that was part of my sense in the fact when I watched the video and Dan had kind of, obviously when we knew it was coming out, he was like, it was part with Ferrari. I think that's why I expected it to be more Ferrari. Like,
and that's actually intentional in a way. We didn't want it to just be, because Ferrari, they're really good at marketing.
Yeah, probably better than anybody.
Right. And to show just how exclusive, how glamorous it is to own a Ferrari, we wanted to take a different angle. And what was very interesting is Ferrari North America, like the people that we work with, they were so open to our ideas. We wanted, because of our previous films, we really wanted to connect to the audience the best way that we can. And they're like, yeah, go for it. So we're like, okay. So like, we don't have to make the protagonist and even his son like, oh, look, oh, we're just super
Ultra
cool. We're
wealthy.
above everyone else.
Yeah.
We wanted...
Yeah, it was a surprise to both of them to have that in the garage.
We wanted, you know, the main character and the storyline to be very approachable so that, like, almost anyone could connect with it in a way. Like, although it's not perfect in a way, that was our intention with the film.
And
but that shows no real life's not perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not. We knew, like, with F Sharp, we would have to stretch in terms of connecting with our existing audience. And so, which is why we wrote to the story that, you know, this car is a new car for the father, and the son didn't even know the father had the car. And so, to possibly make this relatable in the most way we could, but, you know, in the end, any car could fit in that story.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's just a story about a father connecting with a son through a vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Hugs, Dan. Hugs.
I know.
Dan.
Well, no, I mean, through being in this area and knowing, you know, people at Forza and stuff. I mean, I've heard stories about, like, with Forza, like, where when the car stops in Forza, the ponies have to be straight up and things like that.
Right.
Ferrari is specific.
Yeah.
I mean, they respect the brand. The prancing horse has to be. So that's why I was wondering if it sounds like they almost looked at you and said, "We trust you. You're going to go do this."
I mean, they had some guidelines, right?
Yeah.
So, like, let's say profile shots that were stationary. The prancing horse on
Had to be
wheels
up.
have to
So
straight up.
you too, okay,
Right.
got it.
But like when a vehicle would stop in motion, it didn't have to be so.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Do it 9 times until the wheel's right.
Right.
No, like, I think a lot of people would assume maybe they would be difficult to work with, but they were actually they were awesome to work with.
I wouldn't think it difficult, and if I said difficult, I shouldn't have said that.
Don't say that.
I
again.
apologize. Yeah,
don't say that about Ferrari,
especially with those eyes. Don't you?
Don't do that again. Yeah.
They are particular.
Precise and particular. I think is the way I want to say that.
They know their brand. Period.
Well, but you, as a lover of Ferrari, you expect that from Ferrari.
Yeah.
I mean. I joke about the fact, like, Dan's seen this. Like, I mean, I have a huge 1/18th Ferrari collection, but like in that, all of them are displayed. The horses are straight like
up.
in my mind. But I've never dealt with Ferrari. It's like, but that just makes sense. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yep,
so yeah.
And then another requirement they had is do not use wide-angle lenses because it would distort the shape of a car.
Right. So no GoPros. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, exactly right. And so with that said, like, our minimal focal distance would be a 35 millimeter and shoot at a distance, never too close. But those were literally the only 2 guidelines they give us. Otherwise, they were like, hey. So we even asked, should we shoot more like you guys? They were like, no, that's definitely not what we want.
They want you. They don't want you to shoot them. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're like, all right.
Yeah, because we when we were first pitching them a few story ideas, they really gravitated towards stories that really just connected with people and less about the car. So we're like, oh, okay. They really wanted to try something very different this time around. So we're like, oh, yeah, dude, this is awesome. Yep. And they were very supportive the whole way through. It was just a really good experience overall for us.
Where did the story come from?
Good question.
That is a great question. It came from Chris, one of our guys.
Okay.
And so it's a derivative of one of our most recent films, Hero. So it's very similar, but it was very inspired by jazz, a lot of music. And Chris was like, hey, you know what? Like, it'd be great to retell that story, but with a father and son, and have music as that backbone.
Sure.
Right? And because Ferrari is so known for their sounds and that tone, like, it would be amazing to be able to
it's a symphony.
Map that together. Yeah.
It's funny, and I will say this from my side. I told him this, like, being an outsider and knowing where it was filmed and things like that. Like, when you pull up in the alley and you get out, I'm like, you wouldn't leave a Ferrari in an alley.
Exactly.
That car would be gone in 15 minutes.
I mean, come on, guys. Seattle is totally safe these days.
Totally.
Absolutely. If you keep moving at 60 miles an hour, it's totally safe. Yeah.
Yes.
No. It was an incredible film. Like I said, it was. I think it did invoke a lot of emotion. Like it did, you know. I watched it several times because, like, I was really hoping for a better acting from Dan. But, no.
I had a lot of practice up until that
Dan
point.
was amazing.
So here's the funny thing.
Yeah.
I looked at that and I was like, I'm like, that is so cool. That's so cool. And he's like, dude, it was so long hours. He's like, I didn't want to be in that car ever again. Like, and I get it. Like, I mean, I've never done something like that, but like the way you described it to me, it was like, yeah, let's just drive this road 90 times. Yeah. And like, like
all right,
to get the
Dan.
shot.
Oh, but he was such a good sport. He
Yeah.
would actually suggest it. He's like, you want me to go around again? And I'm like, okay.
I want to make sure they got the shot.
Yeah.
Hey, you want me to drive this car some more? Okay, I'll do that for you.
Yeah. Dan and Lee, who played his son, they came through just, big time. Oh man, they were so easy to work with.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. He's great to work with.
Very easy to work with.
You need to teach him to shave, but I mean,
he looked his part.
Because I warned Dan, I'm like, don't be difficult.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't be difficult.
I said the same thing when we met. I was like, don't be difficult.
Yeah.
Best birthday present I ever got.
Yeah. Dan and Lee were pros on set. They were absolutely definitely.
No, and I will say this to the casting, it worked. Like I believed, knowing you and knowing your family and things like that, he very much could have been your son. Like I think that was something that was good.
I had a really good time working with him.
Yeah.
Really.
So
I really had a good time in
Dan
general.
actually adopted Lee in real life.
Yeah.
He's his son.
He lives under my deck.
He has a bunny. That's about his. He has a bunny. That's
I got a farm, a rabbit, and Lee works.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
And he's got hummingbirds. That's a
I do have a lot of hummingbirds.
Oh, that's really cute.
That's true, actually.
It's absolutely stupid until you do it, and then you're out on this deck going, "Oh my god, this is amazing." Yeah. So I mean, where are you going with this? I mean, I know obviously there's some projects in the works that can't be. You know, I'm sorry, Dan. I didn't mean to hijack this episode, but you know them and I don't.
Yeah,
please.
that's
We
we
great.
have a connection now.
Yeah,
So I mean, exactly. There's a reason he's
I
going
can tell
back
from
to-
the animosity.
Yeah, I was I'm just trying to sweeten him up. There's got to be a part with like a sweeping guy in the next film or something like that. So yeah,
That'd be hilarious, actually.
I think that's a great question. We had Robin and I had talked about like were will this go? So
because
obviously
it was a hobby that turned into something serious.
totally right.
Yeah.
And so since we were both believers of just streaming big because one, they cost nothing, and one, what happens when you fall short, then you're still higher than everyone, right? And so we thought
he should write bumper stickers.
Oh, thanks. And so
you could illustrate them.
Yes, exactly.
No.
So we
Okay,
had
you could
talked,
trace them.
Okay.
what if one of our films went to the Oscars, for an best or a live short? And
If
so
you go to the Oscars, I will come and I will stand on stage and I will slap the out of you.
I would love that.
Keep my net. No.
I don't think we'll invite you, actually.
It's okay. You're finding a tux that fits my neck.
Well, if we actually get invited to Oscars, we don't know any of you. Okay.
You know
That's
what?
fair.
That's fair, and I accept that.
Because I'll be super arrogant. I don't know them.
So you'll be the same.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be the same. Gosh.
Open
just
door,
met.
walk right in.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you'll be slapping him,
I
right?
was hoping we'd become best friends after today.
Absolutely.
Right?
We'll just be in the back of the audience yelling, Tracer!
I was going to invite myself to your house tomorrow.
You should. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that'd be an experience for you. Trust me.
Oh, yeah?
So you're
I'm
definitely
scared.
single, right?
Like, what the hell's wrong with your house?
That's a lot of Star Wars Legos.
Oh, dude, we would relate, actually.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, he's got a lot of collectibles.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's for his children.
No, it's for him.
For me.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, Oscars, and we thought
Awesome.
if we could do Netflix series, like for us, we have a high goal, but it's very open, like where that will lead us. I think with this Ferrari experience, what we want to do is, so we have another story, another film we're planning right now. We've just finished the script, and we're going to kind of go back to our roots and kind of go back to the R34 story, kind of go even simpler, maybe even shorter, and just tell a compelling story that people can relate to.
Sweet.
And we'll just kind of...
You still got the car?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. So it's one of those things. It's like, it's in my garage. So before I go to sleep, I always check up on it like it's my baby. Make sure it's okay.
Yeah.
I will go in the garage, look at it for a second, and then I go
Well, he's talking about his
like
R34.
R34.
The
Yeah.
32 is...
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay, so I'm talking about R34. Yeah.
It's so pretty.
I'd do that too.
It's so
Yeah.
pretty.
It's funny because I go in your garage every night. I look at it.
So that was you.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean,
I thought you
It's
were
just
an
cleaner every
opossum.
morning.
you're like, wait a minute.
That's a big opossum.
We're gonna need a bigger cage.
God.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Just yell at him; he'll faint. It's fine.
But it's the truth. Like, I look at it every single night, and for me, I feel so grateful every night. I'm like, I can't believe it's here.
Yeah.
Like, even if I didn't own it, I'm like, just the fact that I could see it every night.
Yeah.
But I think that
it's
says
a
something about
feeling.
car ownership in the fact that there's a lot of people out there, a lot of collectors that have cars. They buy cars, they go into a warehouse. They're an appreciating asset,
Yeah.
which I get. But
Right.
It makes sense, but
you've worked very hard. You drive these cars. You love these cars. Your family's a part of these cars.
Yeah.
It's different. It's a different scenario. Like in the fact that, like, you know, especially when you put a car away for the winter, you're
Yeah.
still looking at it. You're still polishing. You're still cleaning.
Right.
I mean, there's something to that. I mean,
Right,
and I have nothing. There's nothing wrong with the collector that buys it and
Oh,
puts
yeah.
it in their collection
Totally.
and doesn't, But I mean, I've always wanted to be like the Jay Leno of the thing. The fact that, like, no matter,
Right.
I will never own more cars than I can drive. And I will drive the crap out of them if I can.
Right.
But I think that's the important part. Like you said, you're looking at it every night, and so
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Recently I was looking at potentially selling the NSX to stepping up to like a 718 GT4.
yeah.
Right. And I had told my kids, and they were like, "Dad, no. Like, you are the NSX. Like,
Aw.
no.
That's
Like,
awesome.
That's really
we
cool.
can't imagine you in any other car.
Dad,
right
I
now."
told kids at school you own that. You can't sell
Right,
it now.
exactly. That was the real reason why they said that, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
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 So because of that, it feels like, so I could relate. It's like that garage door is open slightly longer. You're just taking another look at it, and then closing it for the day. And
I mean, growing up, did your parents have cars? Was cars a thing?
For me, it necessarily wasn't, but my dad had a respect for cars in a way where he would yell at me once I turned 16, and he gave me this, the 84 Volvo GL to drive, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He would get upset at me for not taking care of it or washing it. So he instilled in me, it's like, hey, look, the car is actually something special, and there's some value to it. You need to take care of it. So he instilled in me this value of like actually taking care of those things, especially the car itself. So then I would take care of it. I was always washing it and taking care of it. And then
Almost a
whenever,
life lesson in there somewhere.
oh yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And then whenever
At
he
least a
did
couple.
maintenance, he's a do-it-yourself guy too. So whether we're changing like brake pads or doing an oil change, he'd be like, "Hey, come here. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna help me out."
Yep.
So then I learned a lot of my maintenance skills from him. So then from there, just learning the inner workings of the car and all the parts and stuff really helped gain an appreciation for cars too. Yeah. So they weren't necessarily like cars that you would see here, but
But still, it's appreciating something you own.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that really was a big influence for me.
yeah, yes,
I think going back to your kids and talking about, like, so my dad in 1985 bought a 535i. It was Mola red. It had gold BBS wheels.
Dang.
Oh wow.
And I remember, I loved cars,
Yeah.
and it was a 5-speed, and it was
Yeah.
at the time it was the fastest 4-door sedan in the world. It had 185 horsepower. But I remember, and my father and I are very close. I still
Yes.
work with him and stuff like that. But and BMWs were a big part of me. Like, I didn't
Right.
before I knew what BMWs. But the idea that I could convince him to take me to school in that car.
Yeah, yeah.
Pulling up, now,
Yeah.
I'm and that is one of my eventual goals in my childhood. Is the car is over here. I don't
Yeah.
know if it has the wheels, but I want to find that car.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was something special to me. I have so many memories of my dad and I in BMWs. Like, he traded that in. It broke my heart. He bought a 7 Series. My heart healed. And then he bought a 735 out of Montana, and then we were going through Montana at 135 miles an hour. And ironically, a guy passed us in an NSX like we were standing
Oh, wow.
still. My
It
mom
was
was
Andy.
asleep.
It was Andy.
I feel that.
Yeah.
But there's so many memories that are in my
Yes.
childhood that are linked to cars that, and my dad's not that big of a car guy. It's
Yeah.
funny because he comes from the financial industry, but he can hear a car start up and he can tell you what it is.
What it
but
is.
but I have the part, like he says I have the passion, which is
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
because but I have so many memories like that. When you said that and your
Yeah.
kids are going, don't sell it. Like,
Yeah.
I was like that. I didn't even know he was
Yeah.
selling it. And I was like, I
Right.
cried. Like, it was like that car was an identity for me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it meant something. So
Exactly.
I get that.
So
Yeah.
like even now, it's like now that thought of selling is no longer in it. So it's like, okay, because my son keeps on saying, Dad, you're gonna give that car to me, right? You're gonna give that car. And like, so last Friday, I picked him up from school, or not Friday, last week, and I see him from the rearview mirror. I see him walking, and then he sees me, and he stops. He just waits for his friends to come.
Of course.
And then once the gaggle of friends are there, and then he starts walking, and all the friends are, like, who's that your dad?
I guess my dad dropped the NSX.
Man, your son's lucky.
Yeah.
The only memories I have is when my mom dropped me off at school. I would always have to kiss her on the cheek.
Yeah, but to be fair, your mom didn't actually stop. She just started to open the door and
roll
push
So
out.
like, I had to do that. And then I would see all my friends watching. And I'm like, Mom, do I have to? I'm like,
Hey, guys, look at that Tracer kissing his mom.
yeah, so I knew right when I got
There's a new
out.
shirt there somewhere.
And they're like, oh, you kiss your mom. I'm like, yeah, bro.
I like my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Did your mom buy you those? Yeah, I don't have a job.
I love my mama. No, I think that's important. I mean, it's amazing that the memories that are linked to cars that I don't even realize.
Oh, yes.
And I think that
Absolutely.
when you said that, you're like, when your son's like, don't sell the car. Like, that means something.
Yeah,
you know?
it does.
But then there's that conversation that your dad has where you're like, look, I'm going to get something cooler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Actually, I blew the transmission out of his 7 Series after he sold the.
Oh, that's funny.
He didn't think it was funny at all.
Right.
It's funny. I was trying to do a burnout and I dropped it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
I'm still my Porsche. I used to drive that thing all-wheel drive, of course. I would drive it in every condition. I had snow tires on it and everything. I'd get home and I would wash it in the driveway while it was still snowing or raining, and I'd put it away clean.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing better than going down to the garage
And seeing it.
And I would sit there, and we had a couch in the garage, that giant garage in Kirkland. I would literally just sit there sometimes. And just because that was so far out of reach for me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And just to see it in there the way I wanted it, and it was the spec I wanted, minus the backup camera, and the car I wanted.
Right.
That was just like that.
Okay, but you just switched from. Oh, you're talking about the 9. I'm sorry, you are talking
Turbo
about,
S.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I sent you the TikTok of that guy in Washington with the 944 that's selling it for $500.
I know. I miss my 944 too, but
That's why I sent it to you. Yeah.
not as much. I gotta say, it was a cool car, but when it comes to driving, and I love to drive, so you were hard pressed to beat a Turbo S for the perfect road trip car.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so 2 questions.
Yeah.
What are you driving now, and what's the dream car?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Sure,
Robin,
sir.
go ahead.
Okay, my daily is a 2016 Porsche Cayman GT4, which I love.
You didn't get it in like blue or something, did you?
Yeah, it's
Ugh,
blue.
what is wrong with
which
this?
is the best color.
Is it?
I like that you don't like it. It just makes me love it even more.
Yeah, I don't like blue.
No, I love it more
I know.
now. Okay. And then
That's why I
his
left you.
eyes.
That's why I accidentally left you outside the gate.
I know.
I was like,
no, I saw him looking outside the window,
Absolutely.
like just staring.
I was looking outside my Subaru,
And
going,
I'm like, Andy, do you have Dan's number? We got to get in. And then once Dan called, you, and he's just like, okay, yeah, finally. I'm like, oh, God, okay, come in.
well, they yell at you if you let people in that you don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
bad idea here.
I didn't know you.
Really? The night?
Well, I'm- yeah.
Okay.
He's
Yeah,
famous.
so, but,
I really hope I don't get a bunch of emails.
I kind of hope you do.
Actually, I kind of do hope I get it. How dare you? Like,
You know who you were talking to.
I will love the day you get canceled.
is this Robin's mom? Yeah, I'm uncancelable. Trust me.
Yeah, and then the other 2 cars that I just love is the R32 GTR. It's a 92. And then I was fortunate enough to be able to get a R34 GTR V-Spec 99, which is show and display. So it's 100% legal in the U.S. So that's like my pride and joy that I just keep in my garage. That I just
What color?
love looking at. Midnight purple too.
Yeah, I mean, know the color, but
You already knew that.
I was there at the shoot.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
I don't remember you being there.
I was organizing it.
You were? Okay.
I wanted to park you down the block, but they wouldn't do it. No.
Yeah, that car's stunning.
Yeah.
The color is stunning.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Just everything about that.
Yeah, you were in the
car's
Avant shoot, right?
Oh, yeah. I showed up. Oh,
yeah.
you were there.
You know the guy that put everybody inside the 3 people, and yeah, that was me.
No, I don't remember
Oh,
that
you
at all.
mother-
No. Maybe.
He doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What does Andy drive?
Yeah, so I drive a 92 NSX, black on black, 5-speed. It's got 77,000 miles.
92 got the pop-up?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, all right,
up
okay.
till the 96, I believe.
Okay.
96, 97. But yeah, and then that's my weekend car. And then my daily is like a 530 BMW. It's the new one. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. That's a great car.
So what's the dream car, guys?
The dream car?
Yeah.
Oh man, there's
Anything
so many.
here. So like
There's a lot here too. Yeah.
when you were showing us, the inventory here, I'm just like, my God.
And now's the time to probably tell you these aren't my cars. I mean, I know
Yeah.
I acted like they were, but yeah, I'm
You
sorry.
lied to me.
All 300 of them.
I lied to you. Yeah, like
You
a
lied to
rug.
me.
I like a rug. Yeah.
Yeah. boss
you
members.
rug pulled me, man. Okay, so I don't know what to believe anymore.
Well, you don't have to have. It doesn't have to be here. But like I said,
Yeah.
I feel like with
Okay,
the
for
love of the
me-
cars you guys have.
Yeah,
This is
for
where
me,
we need the
for
three
me,
cameras.
actually, right
Yes,
now is
exactly.
a 992
Yeah.
GT3 in manual, but they're impossible to get right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my current
Well, you
one.
can get them. It's just the premium you're going to pay.
Yeah,
for.
yeah, which I can't pay for.
That's because you're
150K
intelligent.
over MSRP, I saw.
Yeah.
150.
150K for a
Yeah.
GT3T right now in manual.
But I'm hoping after this podcast, somehow I'll
You're gonna be
get
famous,
the-
yeah.
yeah.
You'll finally make it.
Have you seen the GT3 RS doing the Nürburgring and how high that new wing is on it?
Dude, that's
You
massive.
like
I
that?
love it.
Oh wow! I'll have to see what makes it a production.
So I hate high wings that don't function. I love
get it, but-
crazy
Yeah.
bodywork that functions. Like the McLaren Senna, or just ridiculous.
That's why he likes me. Crazy bodywork.
Yeah.
like
And it functions.
yeah.
Yeah. Does it?
That's right.
Nice.
No, it doesn't. Have you seen me on a small Honda Monkey?
I want to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's.
We'll send you the link.
Yeah, I'll send you the
Hilarious.
link. Trust me. Yeah. Yeah.
I would say for an attainable dream car, a GT3 Touring,
Okay.
awesome. As far
That's
as
kind of
an
why you geeked
Yeah,
out. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
As
Geeked
far
out,
as
not
like an
goosed out.
unattainable vehicle, it would be an experience that I can't experience anywhere else. So maybe like the Gordon Murray T50, like
Oh,
like
That's fair.
the
you would be
F1.
surprised what you can obtain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's very different, right? Center seat. NA
I
V12.
know for a fact that we will have, I think, 2 here in the next
Wow.
year. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my
Have you seen
God.
Have you seen Savage
Or-
Garage's latest video?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when it
watch
arrives,
that.
thank
I'll
you
let you know.
so much for the invite.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll send you guys the invite. You can check it out.
Andy, I'd like to really invite you when that arrives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please
Thanks.
don't bring anybody.
All right.
No.
This is like the Oscars, mother.
Wait, my name is Robin. You're talking to the wrong guy.
I'm not. You already told me you were uninviting me from your Oscar speech, so you know.
Well, as you
Yeah,
can see, the
but-
things that just kind of randomly show up in the
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's your, again, like,
That Corvette GT looks amazing.
yeah.
It's interesting because when Dan and I give tours around here, it's always interesting to see what attracts people.
Yeah.
Like what
Yeah,
Yeah,
cars-
like the Honda Civic Si.
we spend a
Actually,
good amount.
I
We
love
spend,
it.
we
I
spend a
love
good
that
amount of
car.
time on it. We really did
Yeah.
because it's a.
It hits the feels.
You can't
Flawless
see it.
SI.
It is a
Yeah.
what year? It's a 90 something. No,
I think so.
99?
99
No,
Honda
it's mid-
Civic
Not
VTEC
95,
with
yeah.
less than 5,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
Black on black.
It was
And I
immaculate.
joked about the fact that it avoided becoming a black Civic from Fast and the Furious, but
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
so
It parked behind a GT2 RS YSAC.
Yeah.
Which
Yep.
is owned by the same owner.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
they're all the same. Yeah,
Great
And
taste.
right
would-
down the row, one spot over from a 66
Impala.
Yeah. I saw
or six,
that.
no, excuse me, 64 Impala.
That too.
And it's
That
like the
looked
nicest car in
amazing.
here.
It looks, the interior,
It's
the dash
beautiful.
Yeah.
was immaculate. I would love to try the new GT4 RS
Oh yeah.
just to have that
Yeah.
engine and that induction in the cabin. See
Mhm.
what that sounds like. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I don't think Porsche hasn't made a bad RS in my opinion. Every one of them I've driven, I've enjoyed. There's
Yeah.
some I've enjoyed more than others, but I've
Right.
never not enjoyed any of their RS
Right.
models. They're just all amazing. Porsche lives up to the hype, unfortunately.
They do.
Yeah.
And I love the engineering philosophy, right? It's just iterative and just fine tuning everything. So
Damn Germans.
Right?
they know what they're doing.
They know what's up
Yeah.
with the car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Don't you know? Oh, that we went a different direction there.
Yeah, that's different.
That's a totally different accent.
Yeah.
The whiskey's taken.
Fargo, Germany.
Hey, cut this guy off.
Fargo, Stuttgart, right next to each other.
Dan, we need to drink more. One glass of whiskey's starting to make me.
I can't wait. I can't wait till this podcast is over so we could just drink more. Yeah.
Who told you had to stop drinking during the podcast?
I know.
All you got to do is turn and go, hey, hit the pause button.
Okay, you could just go get it.
Pause button.
I'll do you one better.
Yeah,
This is one of our longer episodes. I'm just having a good time. I hope the audience did too. But
Oh, really?
I will talk about the Avance events coming up because I need to do that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right.
Let's see here.
Contractual.
Got next one, Portland. Let's see, the 16th. Will that be out by then? I don't think so.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Well, you missed Portland ladies. You missed the Avance Autocross. You should be watching the calendar because you missed out. There's another one for us at Sanderson Field. That was Saturday before this. You missed out. And Avance Off Road, which is this weekend.
Which will not come out.
Which will not come out before this? Just going on the list here.
Are there any events that are coming out after this comes out?
Probably.
No.
I don't know if this is ever going to make air.
Well, I was telling a bunch of my California friends about like how I was involved.
We get it,
in
you
this
have
club
friends.
in Avance too, and I told them. Hey, so they were like, what makes Avance different? And so I said, for me, the events were very different, right? Because there's so many car clubs in California, right?
Yeah.
But when they heard about these, and I told them, you would go to like a dyno event, you would go to a carbon fiber event to see how it's manufactured, and they were like, "Oh my God, why isn't that here?" So I know I've talked to Adam. I was like, "Dude, hurry up! Like, bring this here."
Stay tuned,
Yes.
California.
And I think a lot of it's the online persona.
Yes.
The fact that you get on the Avance page on like Facebook, it's not a bunch of people making fun of people. It's not a people making stupid comments. It's not, like I realized how much I love Avance, but I posted some stuff on the Subaru Wilderness page because I've had some issues. Like when my sunroof is open, I can't see my screen.
Yeah.
And I wanted real answers. And I got 99% of them are just close your sunroof. Which, again, when the first person says it, it's funny.
Yeah.
But
That was me.
I know it was you. I mean, I don't know how many accounts you
Close it.
have. But that's, I'm kind of, but no, I think that's one of the things that sets Avance is the fact that when you ask a question or you post something, the moderation has been laid down to the point where this is a fun place. This is a serious place. If you have an answer, great. There's room for jokes, but it's not somebody going.
But follow with a real answer.
Absolutely.
Don't just be a jerk.
Hey, close your sunroof, dumbass. And if you don't, get an anti-glare.
Yeah,
That's all I was looking for.
That's the thing I love about the Avance community is everyone's very respectful towards each other. And there's plenty of empathy going around. So it's just like I could post something without fear and I could assume that no one's going to be a jerk to me. Yeah. So I think that's been really great.
In Avance, not here.
Right.
Yes. We are across the
here,
table.
like, I don't like any of you.
I know.
But Avance, yeah.
Apparently your
Avance.
acting didn't work, Dan.
One of the things I've actually seen recently that I really like is people can post their wins in there.
Yeah.
Like you can be successful and not have to hide it and not be a jerk at the same time. Because people don't assume that of you in that club. Like somebody goes out and buys a new Ferrari. That's a big deal for a lot of people. That would be a huge deal for me. And it would suck to be able to not be able to be like, hey, dude, I finally did this. And everybody's like, congratulations, rich jerk.
Yeah.
The rest of us, got our, and it's like, dude, I came from a small farming town. Leave me alone. This is a big deal for me. Yeah, and it's even the guys that have a collection of cars, they're like, hey, I thought somebody else might want to see this cool thing I got. Like, they're not saying you're lesser than them.
Exactly.
Saying, hey, look at this cool thing.
If anything, they're wanting to share their joy with you.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then, what's great is, our community is very happy for the person who just got that new thing. Yeah. So it's been really great. Just the community in general.
Adam's still sending me magazines, even though I'm in California. So thanks, Adam.
He shouldn't, though. He shouldn't.
He'll eventually get to California. Don't you worry. Yeah.
No, I don't think he should.
You know what? I think you may have a point there.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Avance, Avance events you can actually go to. Denver people, tech session April 20th. That is at Simply Euro. Track prep. That's actually kind of a cool one. That actually be really interesting. I wish I could go to that. One we are hosting, an evening with Randy Popes. That is Thursday the 21st.
Oh, that's cool.
50 spots available. I think there may already be gone. I'll let Adam say that. I don't know that for sure, but we will be recording video. And we'll be doing a podcast and recording that.
We're on video?
Yeah. You guys will like Randy. He is as nice as he is in the films.
Oh, man, you screwed up.
You're like your best impression of a turtle. That's going to be a lot of fun, though. A tech session with Systems Unlimited here about mobile audio, video, and electronics. Actually really cool to do. Track day at Pacific Raceways, Thursday, April 28th. always a good time. If you've never done a track day, I keep telling people just to go do this.
Right.
They don't care about what you show up in as long as it's safe and your stuff is not like flying around the cabin with you. But like you could literally bring your family car out there and go take on the track and actually have a really good time.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is.
3M taped that troll doll to your dash and let's move on.
Right.
Yeah.
And for the record, your stock Honda Accord is faster than an Aston Martin DB5. 60s one.
Yeah, I was saying, DB5,
not the new one. Yeah. So think of it that way. Like, anyway.
That's great. Yeah.
That's about the next week. Tons of stuff coming up. As usual, summer's coming in. The weather's somewhat clearing up because it was pouring earlier. Now it's sunny. I don't know. But we're driving more, so you should too. And there's a lot of stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
guys, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So glad I could grace you with my presence.
And so Robin,
I really
is
wanted.
like
I
this.
wanted you
Like,
to win.
he's normally like
Yeah.
this.
I mean, Robin Williams over there. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a huge compliment.
It is. Yeah. I mean,
I
I
actually
really shouldn't have said it to you, but
honestly, it really was. We talked about it earlier. Those days of shooting were long and
were
hard,
long.
but they were so fun. And I would do it in a
I wouldn't
heartbeat.
know.
No, you wouldn't.
Because of me.
It was Robin's
I get
fault.
it.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk after the. I mean,
so-
we're gonna talk about that Avant shoot because seriously.
So we're thinking, like it's something that we did mention to Adam as well. It's like maybe future films, because there's such a great eclectic special car community here, that we would potentially cast from the Avance community and just ask people, be like, hey, do you
I
have time
think
to
there's
do
a
film?
lot of good people here that
There's
would
amazing
really.
people,
I mean, that necessarily aren't the type of person would think that would be on the camera,
Yeah.
but like could really give an emotion. That,
Oh,
that
for
would-
sure.
100%, right?
Because it won't be hard for them to emote what they really
Show the
feel.
love of what you're driving. Okay.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And like the nuances of how they work, it is just,
I agree.
that's what we look for.
Nick cries a lot. He'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have a crying role?
Wait, can I see you cry?
If you need one of like a large American with a British car that's broken on the side of the road, I'm your dude.
Okay. The perfect script.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the crying British.
Wait, you're British?
The car is.
I could tell by your accent.
Yes, you can. And
Yeah.
my teeth. It's the gap.
It's the gap.
It's the gap.
I was going to point that out, but I didn't
I
want to be
appreciate
rude.
that. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
since when? No.
I think it was Lotus who did it for an April Fool's Day. Maybe it was Caterham.
Caterham or whatever it is.
Caterham,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
They said like a new accessory was like a rebrand. It was an April Fool's joke, and it was a tub of Vaseline to get into the car.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Called
Grease it up.
like entry and exit fluid. Like the
God.
innuendos were all over the place. Completely
was
intentional.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
genius.
yeah. I know. I was like,
Oh my God.
anyway,
Nice. All right.
good stuff.
Thanks, guys. I really do
Thank you, guys.
appreciate it.
That was a ton of
Thank
fun.
you. It's
Thank you
been
for
great.
having
We look
us.
forward to seeing you in the future, and especially
Yes.
Avance things and things like that.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
So I'll be here next week and every
Anytime
week.
you want. Yeah, yeah. You go ahead and show up next week.
Hey, look, we got a camera crew.
Yep.
He volunteered.
No, I don't want to do anything. I just want to show
So
up.
it's just like
I
what
like
you do here.
the
And
free
drink the
whiskey.
booze.
He's going to sit here and judge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to just judge you guys.
You don't need to be here to do
I don't
that.
need more parents.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Enough
But, no,
judgment.
but thank you. It's been awesome.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it, guys. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
For this episode of the Avance podcast, I'm Nick.
I'm Dan, and don't just get there. Enjoy the drive.